Hello and welcome back everyone, we're of course back, and today as you can see we are of course back on Hypixel Skyblock. Now today's video is all about how to make money with minions. Now I'm not talking about what minions to choose, because that of course can change at any time. Everyone will have different experiences with minions, some minions cost more to set up, all that. But I'm just telling you how to focus on what minions can make the most money for you, and what minions can be the best for you all around with collections and all that. So, to start off, we of course want to check, the prices of various items, because there's a minion for almost any item that you can, have a collection for. But having a wheat minion is of course going to be a lot different in how much you can make compared to a cobblestone minion, or a gold minion, or really anything else. Everything is going to make a pretty different amount of money. Now, a lot of things will just be very similar, but everything will have its differences in speed and how much the item itself is worth. Now, the general ones that people consider to be the best, or at least some of the best, are of course, rotten flesh / zombie minions, because those can make tons of rotten flesh, tons of enchanted rotten flesh, and that's of course worth a pretty solid amount. And even more so than that is the enchanted slime ball or slime minions, because those are worth even more than the rotten flesh. People also tend to consider the snow minions very good. Ice minions can be very good because, those have it where you can get up to the enchanted packed ice, which is worth a lot. And all around, just, once again, anything that you will find over time can make some money. It's just about maximizing that money for you. Now, there are a couple things to look at. As I mentioned, every minion will have a different speed. Now, the good old snow minions, which are right here, will of course go way faster than an obsidian minion. Now, an obsidian minion will of course produce enchanted obsidian, which is worth a lot more than enchanted snow, but in the end, the speed might, to my knowledge, make the snow worth a lot more as a minion. Just like how a slime and a zombie minion will be able to help you a ton because they produce pretty fast while also having a very valuable item. Another thing to look at is how useful the item is to you, how useful the collection is, how useful or how easy it is to set up the minion, stuff like that, as I kind of mentioned in the beginning, because of course setting up a revenant or a tarantula minion is going to be a lot more expensive than just setting up, say, a normal zombie minion. But a revenant minion will be a lot more productive in terms of profit, just because, you put a lot more into it and all that. And also, there are of course going to be things that are easier or harder to get the collections for. Of course, cobblestone you can get the collection for way faster than something like redstone, even though redstone you do get multiple items, just because the final tier of the redstone collection is of course, 1.4 million redstone, which even with minions does take a solid little bit. So, you want to focus on the things that you want for collections, you want to focus on the things that you want for money. Kind of, at least in my way of doing it, I try to have a little bit of balance with that. Like, I have a couple of ones that I'm having for collection and all that, and the rest of them are for the actual money that they make. So now that we're actually here on my island, I'm going to be showing you about the upgrades and all that you want to put on your minions to maximize their, bang for your buck kind of in the early game. But before I get started with that, I would like to kind of say, make sure to subscribe to the channel and all that, because I am going to be holding a coin or item giveaway, I'm not quite sure which, at 200 subscribers and every big milestone after that. So make sure to subscribe, because you may be able to win a ton of items or coins, and, who doesn't want extra things for free? Anyway, back to the video itself. You are of course going to want enchanted lava buckets, at least this is what I suggest for your fuel. Now, in a previous video a long time ago, I actually suggested using enchanted coal. But if you have a coal minion, for one thing, you can of course just sell the enchanted coal, because, reusing it will cost or waste you a lot more coins in the end game, than having an enchanted lava bucket where it is literally infinite. I mean, you can take this out. You cannot take any other fuel, to my knowledge, out of a minion than, you know, enchanted lava buckets or plasma buckets or whatever, because they are completely unlimited. And they also give a way better percentage of speed than that enchanted coal. So there is really no reason not to, you know, invest in them when you have the money, because they're going to be way better than any other fuel in the early game. You are also, of course, going to want to invest in super compactors, because they will turn your items into enchanted items, which are way more useful than, say, just normal compacted items, or not even compacted at all items, which no one wants those. So, once again, here is an example of how I kind of have set it up, where I have a couple here for collections, you know, the gold, the emerald, the sheep over here. I didn't feel like actually farming those, so I have these here for collections and also to upgrade the minions so that I can get more minion slots. Because when you upgrade minions, you of course get more minion slots through the crafted minions section of your menu. So, even if you don't plan on using a minion, I do suggest crafting it and maybe just leveling it up a couple times just so that you can get more minion slots for the things that you actually do care about, like those. Now those are what makes me my money, or at least my minion-made money, because over here is the zombie minions, the slime minions, and the revenant minions. Now revenant minions are basically like the tier after the max tier for a zombie, just like a tarantula minion is like the tier after the max tier for a spider minion. Now, it will completely get rid of, or not make any of the byproduct that a zombie minion does, so you won't get poisonous potatoes, you won't get carrots, you won't get potatoes, you won't get any of that. But you will get a lot more enchanted rotten flesh, which of course means a lot more money because, you know, it's better to have more flesh than more carrots that don't really sell for anything. Now, another thing to talk about is that sometimes you want to look out for events that are happening, or updates, because as of right now, to my knowledge, there is going to be a gardening update coming soon, so things like mushrooms, things like melons and all that have kind of shot up in price compared to what they used to be. So, those of course will become better as time goes on, and as people are going to be buying more and more of those items to prepare for those updates. Just as with the Great Spook event, I actually put down all of these zombie minions because of the poisonous potatoes that they gave. Because there was an item where the more, or where you needed 20 enchanted poisonous potatoes to get it. So, you could have sold these on the auction house, and I would make about over $1 million per enchanted poisonous potato sometimes, if I was lucky. So these have made me a ton of profit. And that's completely not even talking about the tons of enchanted rotten flesh that they make. These things aren't even maxed because I still plan to use them to max out my Revenant minion, but once I have this thing at a higher level and I don't really care too much about leveling it up anymore because it's going to get expensive, well, then I'm just going to max out these zombie minions and well, I'm going to be making a ton of enchanted rotten flesh, which will mean a ton of money, because once again, you want to look at the prices that things sell for. Very important thing to do there. Anyway, the next thing you want to look at, and probably the final thing, is of course how hard it is to level up the minion. Now, to level up a emerald minion, it's not easy, because you need a ton of enchanted emeralds and all that, and enchanted emeralds, for how slow this minion is, are very, very expensive. Because, you know, a stack of them is 70k, I would need 8 stacks for this, and I don't really care enough about emeralds to actually, you know, invest that money into this minion. I also don't really care enough about gold, but these will be easier just because gold is, of course, way cheaper. Now, the thing about sheep, these, once again, I only have here really for collection, but mutton is very good for money, which also means it's going to make the sheep minions a lot harder to level up, because look at all the money that I would be giving up just to upgrade these. Now, the other thing over here is, of course, zombie minions. For how much the actual enchanted rotten flesh is worth, the actual upgrades for a zombie minion are not worth too much. But for Slayer type minions, that raises up to a ton, because you need the zombie minion, the revenant minion, and you need revenant viscera just to get to a level 6. And that is not even getting started on what I would need for the level 11, which would need 3.5 million coins worth of revenant viscera times 7, and also a level 10 zombie minion, and also a level 10 revenant minion, which of course you need just under 2 million coins worth of revenant viscera times 7 for. So you're putting a lot of money into these Slayer minions, so they of course are very good, but very expensive. So those are all the things you want to look at. I know this was a pretty short video, but the idea of minions really is pretty simple. Just look at, how fast it is, how much you need the collection, how much money it can make you, and how much money it costs to actually upkeep and, set it up and all that. Once again, make sure to leave a like on the video. It helps a ton. It helps the algorithm a ton, so it, gets these videos out to other people who may also need help with these same topics. Make sure to leave a comment on any guides you would like to see in the future, or any other minions that you think are better than the zombie or slime minion, or any that you think are just straight up useless if you have any that you think are, once again, straight up useless. It's always fun to hear your feedback about the various parts of Skyblock, so make sure to let me know. And also, of course, make sure to subscribe with the notification bell, because, once again, you could win tons of items or coins as soon as I, do that giveaway. Thank you all very much for watching. Till next time, everyone, and goodbye.